My heart doesn't tango.
This is 4BarLoop, and I'm your host, Nytelife, and I'm with a very special guest today. It is Blasco Says. He is all the way in Hawaii. Kauai, Hawaii, right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Well, Nytelife, it's good to be on the show with you. First of all, Sacramento, you guys are known for a lot of really hot music.
Yeah, it's good being out here, man. It's such a melting pot because there's so many different genres of music out here, and all of them do pretty well, man. We got a good little rock scene out here. We got a good hip hop scene. There are some R&B singers that I know that are cracking from over here. So yeah, definitely, man.
If you don't mind me asking, who are you rocking right now in Sacramento, or who you really feeling?
Right now, man, there's a couple of cats. There's my homeboy Totino. I have Kennedy Rose, which is two of my good friends and people that I really like and look for. That's out in the area. There's the typical, Sibo and Mozzie and the other hip hop acts that are out here too that I always get checked in. But those are like my main ones right now.
I had a brief closing door with or sliding with a couple of people out there in your neck of the woods. I worked with Shark City Records. I worked with Jay the Butcher.
Okay. Nice.
Right before he passed away, as a matter of fact, I worked with him almost daily.
Okay, it's good to hear.
Yeah, so I know that's going back a ways because Shark City Records was a minute ago. But.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so the Kauai has a near and dear place to my heart because my wife and I got married out there on her birthday. So it was pretty amazing being out there. So every time I hear Kauai, it always sparks those good memories for me. So that's the connection that we have.
Where on the island did you guys stay?
I'm trying to remember. I know it was a timeshare that we actually stayed at. I can't even recall what it was. It was so long ago. But we had stayed at a timeshare. It was really nice too.
Before COVID, you're talking like a whole nother world basically. So
yeah, it's night and day now, man. It's crazy. Can't do too much now.
Yeah, I imagine things are quite different in your neck of the woods. I have not been on the mainland since COVID happened, so I don't know how dramatically things have impacted the mainland. I don't have any kind of gauge on that.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I haven't been on the mainland since I've been here. So
okay, well let's get into your music. So first and foremost, so what attracted you to growing into the hip hop space?
It's just going to sound like a weird question, and I've answered this on a couple of different interviews that I've done. What really attracted me to music, and then I'll go get into the genre of hip hop. But what attracted me to music was Christina Aguilera's debut album on RCA.
That's interesting.
That's what really got me, interested in music production, etc. That entire record was immaculate.
Yeah, and then so as far as getting you into hip hop, what kind of veered you off into the lane of hip hop?
Well, I got a couple of different albums that got me into the hip hop rap genre. First of all, this is going back a little ways, so forgive me for sounding dated, but Warren G's Regulators.
Nothing wrong with that.
That was a Michael McDonald sample, actually.
Yeah.
And I think Michael McDonald actually, a funny story, but Michael McDonald actually came away with most of the publishing and the money on that situation, even though that was a number one.
It.
That was number one smash record. He got paid, for that sample. And then of course, this is probably, I'm sure a lot of different recording artists probably reference this one, Dr. Dre's Chronic album.
Yeah, that's one of my personal favorites as well.
And that really, I guess, inspired me to kind of want to be an artist. I don't know what it was about that particular record in general. That is, it had a lot of Parliament Funkadelic as well. You could hear that kind of throughout the record. So a lot of their samples were, sampled from the P-Funk All-Stars. But
right,
that one really got me kind of just, I guess that just kind of grew. And then my cousin was also a promoter in hip hop as well. He did Hip Hop Generation as a movement at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. My cousin Ben Runkle orchestrated this entire thing. He ended up getting about $300,000 in grant money, and he brought in some heavy hitters. He brought in DJ Tony Touch. He brought in Chuck D from Public Enemy. At the time, he was a big advocate of file sharing. Which was kind of a controversial thing at that time, but he was a big advocate of Napster.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And then he also brought in Wendy Day from the Rap Coalition. She did, and he what he did was he made this kind of an education where they had different panels and panelists. Like they did like the 5 elements of hip hop. They even had like graffiti artists there. And then they would have a concert at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. It was crazy. I went up there. I was like 18 years old. I was in high school. And so I'm like this high school kid running around basically this college party in this college atmosphere. I just got the bug.
Yeah, I can see how you would with all those legends and stuff running around there. And shout out to Wendy Day. Wendy Day is a absolute
for sure. And even though I went to a couple panels with I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Oh, it's all good.
I went to a couple panels with Wendy Day from the Rap Coalition, and she was talking at that time to most of the people that were on the indie circuit. One of the emphasis that I remember, and this is so vague, this was a long time ago, but she talked about trying to get your recoupment, in your investment. So whether you're an indie artist, it's the same thing that it was in 1979 that it is in 2022. It's about recoupment for each of your projects. Recoup, and that's one thing that has not changed despite all the different all the different changes and landscapes that have happened that I've seen throughout the course of my career, which is really, really kind of a bizarre path that I've taken anyway.
Yeah, so getting into more on the side of your music, so immediately when I hear the phrase experimental hip hop artist, my ears perk up a bit, and I had the chance to check out some of your music, and it definitely fit the description. Can you tell us a little bit about what that definition kind of means to you?
Well, it's kind of a long definition. Like I said, I went through so much in the last 12 months here in Kauai. Just with all the different changes, etc., with COVID, going on, that really changed the landscape of not only this island but my personal life. Right. I went through a lot of different turmoils in my personal life as well, and so. Basically, the term valediction means, saying goodbye to it all and basically starting a new chapter. I try to put a positive spin on all of my records. I'm energy first. I don't want to, quote, sway the universe too much, but I'm energy first. I try to keep it positive. I try to keep it, 100.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can hear that coming across in your music. So you use a lot of things that you're going through to kind of channel all of that energy and tell those stories, right?
Yes, sir. And one thing that was interesting is that I wrote most of those meditating on the beach. I would spend like 3 or 4 hours in with meditation sessions. I would spend 3 or 4 hours like literally just staring at the Pacific Ocean, staring at the the sun, and just and then literally after I kind of got out of that, it would just come to me.
That's a tremendous problem to have, to be able to just sit there and zone out in front of the Pacific Ocean. That's amazing. I would kill for that.
Yeah, it's it actually took me a while to get acclimated to Hawaii, just because of the change of the drastic change, the climate change, etc. But when I got used to it, obviously I started to enjoy more of the perks. But those first 3 months were not easy at all.
Yeah, so you're a well-traveled artist, and prior to the project that you currently have, Space the Rainbow, a bunch of artists that was involved was some really well-renowned heavy hitters in music. There was Mystical, there was Kevin Gates, there was Juvenile. What was it like? I mean, was it one of those things where it was you sent files and then they recorded and then they sent it back to you, or was it something that you were actually in the studio with them?
I was not actually in the studio with these guys. This was more of a Dropbox kind of situation, as you hear a lot of artists probably today. I worked with a producer my producer who produced Valediction and produced Space the Rainbow. He worked and was associated with Cash Money and Universal, and he's been associated with them. I hope I'm not breaking rules of engagement, but he's been associated with them for about 18 years. And so, issue I'm a Beast was based out of Chicago. He did an internship with Cash Money in 2002, but he's kept in contact with them,
right.
Throughout all the different changes of their label, and even kind of transitioning through Young Money. And so that's where I basically got all of those links.
Well, those are definitely blessings, man. And then Schoolboy Q and Lil Dicky, those are two of my favorites. Lil Dicky is crazy, man. I watch Dave and shit all the time. But Schoolboy Q is definitely one of my favorite artists, especially the whole TDE camp. I love them. And for you to be able to kind of fit your style of music into the style of music that they were doing, how did you feel pressure to do that, or was it something that it was just like a natural fit?
Well, I'm considered an experimental artist. My producer considers me a utopian experiment. Kind of. I draw kind of a parallel to, and not that I'm the same thing, by any means. I don't want to, get that misconstrued, but I draw kind of a parallel to like Frank Zappa, the original experimental artist. Not, like I said, not that I'm in the same genre or anything, but just to kind of draw a couple of different parallels. I'm a utopian experiment. He has about maybe 40 different projects, studio albums that he has on Spotify through the independent label that released all of my records, Exchange Currency, and ECR, and Plicense East and Plicense West, which are two kind of separate entities as well. And like I said, just trying to get being an experimental artist like I am. I literally did not have any skills when I first did Space the Rainbow, as far as people that have been seasoned vets in this game. Compared to them, I don't have those type of skills. I had always worked behind the desk, so to speak. I put out other projects. I executively produced V-Neck's Robin Hood, which was my first really true credit in 2011. That had R. Kelly and some other big features like Trina and Cassidy on there, as well. But so I was mostly behind the desk. I was doing publicity work and things like that. I just got a chance to do this, and I said because basically we were filling a slot, and also I think my producer wanted to kind of make a point of emphasis to really kind of change the landscape of the independent music world. I thought he felt like he could shake some things up with me. I don't exactly know specifically, I guess I'm probably not as articulate as his mission as he would be, obviously, on that.
So some of the experiences that you had when you were putting together Space the Rainbow, how did that help you with putting together Valediction?
Valediction to me is more organic. I don't know if I necessarily, because I was just kind of all over the place on Space the Rainbow on different tracks. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't really kind of come into my own or find my own voice on there. So I feel like Valediction is much more who I am and what I represent. And I felt like there was just more, coherency throughout that project than there was. I felt like I even came into my own as a songwriter, because I didn't start songwriting until 2015. So, like I'd always been around it. I've been around music since about 2006, the business, the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was a real transition to go into get behind the mic. So I was kind of all over the place on Space the Rainbow. My producer found a lot of continuity for me, but that didn't come naturally.
And then what are some as far as the tracks that stand out to you for on Valediction?
Easily Coconut Water. That just is a conglomeration of almost, even though the track is maybe 3 minutes long, the duration of that track, that really just kind of, I took all of my feelings, consolidated it into, the duration of that track. Everything that I've went through in the past year, that pretty much, the chorus, feeling the effects of dehydration in June, better get that coconut water real soon.
Mm-hmm.
That pretty much is a conglomeration of, number of significant events that happened in my life. Two of them were getting fired, and then I met a woman here on the island that I, was in love with, and it didn't work out, unfortunately, and I don't know why, but it didn't work out. I got ghosted. That was very hard for me to deal with.
Yeah, I can see that. And the thing about it is, those moments and those things, when they happen, they actually help to make the best music, because you can just put all your emotions in them and kind of showcase how you feeling. And if you're a good artist and can transition your feelings into the music and make it so where people, it's not only palatable but understandable to people and relatable, then I think that definitely works.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like this particular record so much, is because I was going through a lot of emotional turmoil, and I don't want to put too much of like a toxic positive spin on it, but I was able to overcome a lot of the hurdles that that I was dealing with, while recording, that track, because I was going through a major transition in my life.
Yeah, so I mean that all sounds like it. That and regardless of how positive or negative everything turned out, everything happens for a reason. So I think it really helped to be able to kind of convey that art. So it in the end, I think it worked out the way that it was supposed to. Now, as far as
and I don't know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, and I think that's why Valediction to me is the most personal record, and I'm still a rookie as a songwriter. That's how I look at it, and I'm planning on having a career, until I die as a songwriter. That's not going to be process. It's not just what I mean, spoken word artist and things like that. I'm hoping to do like something like what I saw happen to Nate Walker in 2009. I was backstage with Cisco Swayze, the Nux, and Nate Walker. Nate Walker actually, he's not a very well-known artist, but he wrote Jamie Foxx's "Blame It on the Alcohol." And ever
Nice.
since I saw the success that he had, and that was just on a mixtape. That was originally on a mixtape, and ever since I saw the success that him and his manager Sean Beasley had, it kind of inspired me to actually pursue a career in songwriting because I saw it done. I was right there before it happened. I may have even, I can't get verification on this, but I may have even been, one of the sources of inspiration that kept him going. Little notes to me at the time, just because I was associated with people that were offering him a deal,
Okay.
and that inspired. Rumor has it that inspired him to move to Atlanta and search for the management, and that's how he got the placement with Jamie Foxx.
Nice. Well, I mean,
So that I believe that knocked off Beyonce's "Beautiful Nightmare" off top of the charts. So that's that's saying something.
yeah, definitely a feather in your cap, man. Especially if you had the assist on that. That's pretty cool. So I was checking in your bio, man, and something interesting that popped up was that that you were or are a sports journalist.
Yes, I've been a sports writer since I was 19 years old. I started writing basically at my house. I started writing for online publications when I was a kid. I worked for a company called TopProspectAlert.com, which at that time, this was during the whole .com boom and bust era. And at that time, I was writing about minor league prospects. So I would do one feature a week, and I wrote one of the players that I got to write about was Albert Pujols. I interviewed him. I interviewed him when he was a minor league baseball player, which was pretty cool. I kind of got. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Go ahead.
I kind of got an interesting story. I've been a part of a lot of different famous people, athletes and entertainers, right before they really kind of blow up. Albert Pujols is one. Let's see. Another one is Ben Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm.
I did Ben Roethlisberger's first ever cover story in the NFL for a company called Beckett Magazine. And
Beckett, the old baseball card stuff, the magazine.
Yes, I worked for them for 3 years. I did Ben Roethlisberger's first cover story in the NFL when he was a rookie. This was right after they beat the New England Patriots, so that was a big deal because it's Tom Brady's team. And he ended up becoming the hottest baseball cards on the market. They actually had it was for the 15th anniversary edition cover. They actually had originally Joe Montana and Tom Brady slated for that cover, and Ben Roethlisberger knocked both of those guys off because he was that big of a deal when he came out as a rookie.
Right.
He came out, I believe, with Phillip Rivers. That was the other. That was the other guy that was in that draft class, I believe.
And I think that Phillip Rivers. I think that was Eli Manning. That was the
Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger. Because Eli Manning was the first overall draft pick. I believe he was drafted. Wasn't it originally by the San Diego Chargers?
He was
made a trade
by the Chargers, and they
Giants.
traded him, and then they picked Rivers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and then the other entertainer that I was right before she became really big. I interviewed her literally. I still have the audio tape, which I have not released yet. I still haven't figured out how to release this, but I interviewed Lady Gaga.
Nice.
I interviewed Lady Gaga right before her Fame album was released. This was in 2008. I worked for a company called SongwriterUniverse.com, and she just happened to be the artist that I was assigned to interview. So I was just doing a job. I didn't even know. I remember seeing Poker Face. I saw Poker Face when they had 7,000 YouTube hits on it. Now it has probably over 1 billion.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because I knew something was going on because Dale Kawashima, who is the guy that operates Singer and Songwriter Universe, and he's a huge name. I mean, he's involved with so many of different catalogs. It's ridiculous. But I knew something was going on when he texted me right after I sent the article. Because he was asking me questions, just going
Right.
through the normal editing process. But I was thinking to myself, what's the hurry? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I didn't. I honestly, when I saw her, my first estimate was that I just felt like she was too, cliche. I didn't think she was gonna blow. I didn't think she quite had it. Boy, could I have? I couldn't have been more wrong. I didn't
Right.
realize I was interviewing the second coming of Madonna. You know,
Yeah,
I
so
honestly that was my first assessment of Poker Face. I thought it was, I thought she had deep meanings, but very shallow concepts, and I felt like the concepts were way too shallow.
yeah, that's perceptive, but I guess we were wrong, huh?
I know I was. I'll admit it. So
So, considering that a sports journalist, um, tell me how that's helped with your songwriting. If it's merged into your songwriting or your approach and helped your approach to your
you
songwriting.
know, it has in a way because I started songwriting the same way I started writing feature articles. So I was always a feature writer. That's my main niche. I became a sports journalist and a sports editor, but I started mostly writing features. That's where I've gotten most of any kind of accolades or recognition from is my feature story. But how I started, I just wrote. I just kept writing and I kept getting better and better. And it was kind of an incremental thing. That's exactly the same approach that I'm doing, with songwriting. I want to learn more of the technical aspects of songwriting because I was never a very good technical journalist. I was a great, I was a great writer, but I was not as technical as I could be. I don't think I was as technical like when you're talking about AP style and all the different nuances and things that we have to follow. I was never.
Right.
I would probably drive a copy editor mad. My ex girlfriend even said that. So
Yeah. So one of my final questions to you is that what are your thoughts on today's artists' willingness to take creative risks, and do you think it's happening enough?
yes, yes, I do. I did. I had a conversation with DJ Scribble. I know that's a name from kind of a blast from the past, but he's still
Yeah.
relevant. And this was a while ago that I had that conversation with him. He talked about one thing that, and I feel like it still stands today, even though this conversation happened a long time ago. One thing that is not happening enough of is the majors aren't doing the artist development like they used to.
Correct.
Back in the day, like Britney Spears, when she signed with Jive, she signed a 1 year what they called a development deal. So they kind of basically cultivated her image and worked with her, to become a polished artist. That is one thing I don't see enough of in today's, culture and climate, because I feel like the majors almost use the indies to do the artist development for them, but,
Right.
and I know those are two separate universes, but, I think that's one thing that, could be, much more of a point of emphasis is to do more artist development. I don't know how they would, allocate the financial resources, but I think it definitely needs to be done because there's a lot of money to be made in not only the major artists but independent music. We're the bulk of the music industry.
Correct. Yeah. I think what it is that they're not patient enough to do that. They think they want to see somebody build their own following, and then they just want to pluck
Hmm.
them from that and then be able to reap the benefits of the the audience that they've created, instead of working backwards, like seeing, okay, they got potential, let's go ahead and build their image and put them in the places that they need to be, so that they can get seen and heard, and we can grow this artist and make them great. Now it's just like, all right, how many views do you got? How many people you got looking at you? Oh, this song is hot. How many streams does it have? So once you have all of those things, and they go, oh, okay, well, come on over here, we'll get you, put you in this 360 deal, and we're gonna get everything. Don't sell like merch, because if you sell merch, great, they come in for that. So it's really a crazy time now, man, and I just don't know if the labels are gonna put that money in the development of artists. They have to see something really, really special in order to do that.
Do you think it'll ever happen again that way, or is the economic infrastructure so that they're not focused enough on the creative process? Because they're looking more at a numbers game. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that I think they pick special. You have to be a special case. Like, you have to be like, like a 5 foreign. You have to be like somebody that, or a little baby. You have to be somebody that is. They see the dollar signs, basically. They know that they're going to get the return on investment.
Somebody that basically is bringing a lot of money into the situation already.
Jack Harlow, like they're gonna put you in the places that you need to be seen in order to be able to elevate you. It's almost like in wrestling they call it the rug, right? They put you in a position, put you by somebody that's hot to try to make you hot. And I think that's the game now. I don't think the game is, find and build. It's refined. It's take the rough diamond over here and polish it, and then make it better, and then benefit off of it.
Yeah, really, for sure.
Really crazy.
I think how much do you feel like that hinders the creative process of it? I know that the bottom line is always the focus on money, etc. But do you feel like the creative process suffers because there is a lack of artist development, and what do you think can be done about it?
I think it's a definite lack of artist development. I mean, that's a key component. It's like when you can hear that, because what it is that basically they have a box for you to sit in, especially if they're putting money into you. You have to fit this certain mold. You have to fit in this certain box, and you can't really go outside to do that. You're not going to have that Kendrick freedom to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do. There's not very many artists that are going to have that freedom to do what they want to do. You have to be able to fit. Do this, do that. Here's your core audience. Stay in this box, and that's it. So when you have that, they're just looking. Labels are looking right now to just be able to, just like McDonald's. Let's make the fast food. Let's make it over and over again and keep making money off of it. And that's what they're interested in. They're not interested in trying to.
So in other words, they're more focused on formulaic stuff.
Yeah. They're not into the build off the experimental rapper, because I think remember back when Outkast started, Outkast was doing dope dealer rap, right? So it's like they were doing that, and then right after they got on and they started making it, then they was like, okay, now we're doing the shit that we want to do. So then they completely changed up everything they were doing and started to have the freedom to do whatever it is they wanted.
That's why Stankonia was so successful, because it kind of came into their own.
Yeah. So it's like that's what I think that happens some of the time. It's like when you first come in, you remember Doja Cat was doing the I'm a cow shit. Like, she did that, and then now she is the biggest star in the universe. And one of the most talented stars in the universe, and can rap and can sing and can do all of this cool shit. But to get in and to be able to make, to be able to do something, you have to do something goofy. And she did something goofy and got a lot of hits and got noticed, and then switched it up when she got hot.
It helps too to bring a lot of grip and on the front, the front end. So kind of to have your own money, like Pip. I hope I'm not breaking too many rules, but Pitbull is one that kind of came in, with his own money, and then obviously he had a producer like Jim Johnson down there in Miami, who was able to kind of latch onto. So it almost was like he almost had kind of the perfect storm going. Plus he had that big following, and then he became Mr. 305. So
yeah, definitely, and that's just the roads and the steps in the industry, man, and how shit is built. It's pretty interesting. I could talk about that stuff for hours.
It's always interesting because one thing Michael Watts said in an interview, and he did. I got a chance to have 2 songs of mine screwed and chopped by him, and I was so humbled to be able to have that opportunity. And one thing that he said is that you never know what the next thing is in records, and he's such an interesting guy because he's probably of the last 25 years he's probably sold more records than the majority of people, but yet he's so humble, and right. So down to earth.
Yeah, definitely a big fan of Michael 5000 Watts, man. I love that guy.
Yeah. And like I said, I was very fortunate, to get 2 songs by him, and he, like I said, he's just very chill, very low key, and all he said when he sent me the files is this: done. So, and they were amazing. So, yeah.
All right, it's been amazing to talk to you, man. I really appreciate your time. Viewers, make sure that you go check out Valediction. It is a very unique album that's going to be able to take you through all these ebbs and flows. The sound is a different sound for you, so make sure that you check it out. It's on all streaming platforms. So just make sure you check out Blasco Says. He's a tremendous artist.
Yeah, and thank you again, Nytelife, for having me, and thank you for your patience dealing me with my anxiety last week. I really appreciate you giving me another opportunity. I was a little nervous after I because when you were coming through the phone, it sounded in my ears like a screwed and chopped track, So
we didn't want that.
Yeah, and so I really appreciate that because I was like kind of getting anxious. So I appreciate your patience on it, for real.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad we made the connection, man. So it was great talking to you. Tell the people where they can find you real quick before we get out.
Yeah, for sure. You can get me on all the streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, all the way down the line. Those are the big 3, obviously. But pretty much I'm available in every streaming platform.
All right. Great talking to you. Blasco Says, difficult roads often lead to most beautiful destinations. Shoot your shot. Go for the win. You might make it. Peace.
All right.
Feeling the effects of dehydration in June. Better get that coconut water real soon. Quick, better get to the health food store soon. So dehydration and real soon. Better get that coconut water. The effects from the night before. Shot after shot. I can't take it anymore. The fan blade keeps spinning right round. Overstimulated by any sound. Morning slowly drifts into afternoon. Quick, better get to the health food store soon. Feeling the effects of dehydration in June. Better get that coconut water real soon. Rain continues to pour down like a monsoon. About to experience another meltdown real soon. Slumped over at the 3 o'clock session. The therapist said I didn't learn my lesson. Guess it makes life more depressing. Feeling the effects of dehydration in June. Better get that coconut water real soon. Quick, better get to the health food store soon. So dehydration and real soon. Better get that coconut water. In my meditative state, slumped over, time to make another deadline. No time to panic or call another hotline. Inspired by Inya, my musical muse. Better metaphysical synergy, spark another creative fuse. On the beach filled with sand and grains, the sunlight is Novocaine for my soul.